welcome back to another episode of Kevin's Toy Box. And today we'll finally get to show off the Allosaurus. Now I would have preferred to have a BotM Allosaurus, but those are really expensive. And this one only costs a third of that price, maybe even less. And even crazier, this thing is labeled as a Battle at Big Rock Allosaurus, not a Dominion one, which is that's really cool, because a lot of people like that short film. And we also have a special guest today. It's Toro the cat. How you doing, Toro?
I'm just fine. I just woke up from a nap is all.
So if you're out and about, should I start hiding, or...?
No. You continue with your little review, and just let me know when it's my turn to say something.
Well, with that being said, let's get the HC Allo out of the box. No, you got it facing the wrong way. Okay, there we go. Now just cut those annoying wire thingies and then plug in the tail. And there you have it, one of the best Hammond collection toys ever made. This toy line just gets better with time, with each edition surpassing the previous. Although one thing I can say right out of the box is that our copy of the Allo has very poor stability. I'm not saying they all do, I'm just saying ours is. Or maybe we just need some time to really get to know how the joints work and find out how to keep it standing upright. But once it is standing upright, there's very little to complain about because this is a near perfect toy. Nothing feels out of place or disproportionate. The sculpt has little to no flaws. Honestly, this is a near perfect toy right here. However, I do say near perfect because it's Mattel. There's gonna be some quality control issues. The paint on the upper jaw seems kinda iffy. Like they just took a paintbrush and just splattered on paint at random. Like, this guy already has enough beige. Did we really need that extra splatter on the face? But back to positives, the range of motion on the mouth is just as good as every other Hammond collection. But those teeth are extra rubbery on this Allo, which is a good thing, because it means they can stay sharp without cutting children's fingers. But isn't the Jurassic World Allo famous for having a black tongue? You'd think they'd remember that since they added it to every other Allo toy. But the weirdest thing about our Allo is the eye, specifically the right eye. It's a lot foggier than most other eyes. It just looks it's just not a very good looking eye. But the left eye is perfectly fine. I'd say it's one of their best glass eyes yet. This was so close to being a perfect blind-eyed Allo. They just had to make the right eye white, and there you go. That's it. No need for repainting. But can you imagine how frustrating it would have been if the eyes were reversed and the right eye was the good one and the left eye was the bad one? That means we'd have to paint over the good eye, and now we have an Allo with two bad eyes. That would be very tragic. But going back to singing the Allo's praises, one thing it improves upon from the Carner, who had a very stiff neck articulation, is that this thing can move it a lot better than that one can. It's still not perfect, but it's definitely an improvement, and I can't wait for the next Voyager class to improve this even further. The arms on the previous theropods felt oversized, but they feel just right on the Allo, which means all of these extra points of articulation are just right. And there's another example of poor quality control. There's a splotch of bluish-gray paint right above the arm when that should really be beige. Or should that all be blue, since the upper arm is blue? Who knows? The legs are perfect. No complaints. They are a bit stiff, but that is to ensure stability. Or, to at least prevent the creature from collapsing in on itself. It still falls over, but the legs are still strong. But the tail, man. These tails are the best part of the Hammond collection toys. Now this might just be tail bias, as I also have a really long tail, but you have to agree that this is the Hammond collection's best tail so far. But let me get out of the way so we can jump right into some size comparisons. First, let's compare it to the previous best Allo toy, the Extreme Damage Allosaurus, which was basically a recolored, rescaled version of the previous Allosaurus, the Extreme Roaring one. And due to its increased size, it also improved its stability, because every Allo before this one just kept falling over. Now, we can't have an Allosaurus without a Stegosaurus to compare it with, and the only one we have on hand is Armadas. And speaking of repaints, don't be surprised if you see a Dinosaur King Saurophagonax enter the chat this year. Now, we don't have a BotM Allo, but we do have a BotM Albertosaurus, which is close in scale, so we can use that for comparison. And here's our first Voyager class, and man, these two are only a year apart, and the age, the gap in quality is already pretty big. The Allo has better head articulation, more proportionate arms, a better tail. The only thing the Carno does better is paint apps and glass eyes. Oh, and feet proportion. Apparently the Carno has smaller feet. But they're not extremely oversized like what we had with the T-Rex. But let's stop hating on the Rex. It was the first of its kind. And you know that one day they're gonna reissue it. And now let's compare it to my favorite Hammond collection toy, the Theory. Like, the Allo is great, but I don't think anything will be able to top the Theory's posability. But to wrap up comparisons, here he is next to Brio Thomas, Golden Thomas, Ultimate Valtryek, and Molly McGee. Now all that's left to do is get Toro's opinion on the toy. Hey Toro, can you give us your thoughts on the Hammond collection Allosaurus?
I'm not sure. Let me take a closer look. Its claws, an inadequate back scratcher. And feet, I don't know. I think this rug is more interesting than your toy dinosaurs. Tell me when the BotM Allo arrives, then I'll give my opinion.
But we're not ever getting the BotM Allo. It's too expensive.
Too expensive? That didn't seem to be a problem for him in the past. I mean, just look at all this stuff he has.
But that was before you arrived in the house.
But I'm only a temporary house guest. I'm only staying here until my wife's kittens are old enough to find new homes for themselves.
But if Zainreborn adopts one of those kittens, then he's gonna have to spend money on that instead of the toys for me.
Well, it's like what Stoic said in How to Train Your Dragon 3. With love comes sacrifice. It hurts at first, but it'll all work out in the end.
But how am I supposed to stop buying toys when the Rebirth line looks so good?
That sounds like a you problem. Toodaloo, Kevin.
Well, that conversation got a bit awkward, but, back to the Allo. Not much else needs to be said. It has a few flaws here and there, but overall, it is one beautiful toy, and I highly recommend that everyone who is a fan of the Allo, or just a fan of Allos in general, or just a fan of articulated toys, basically everyone, money's not an option. Get this toy, it's worth it. But what do I know? I'm just a random lizard on the internet. Goodbye.
I know! Have Zainreborn make more hybrid videos. Then you'll have enough money to buy whatever you want.
Toro, you're interrupting my outro!
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video from beginning to end. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel, join the Zainreborn community. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.